This simple app will save your business from wasting 1,000 hours a year. The reason I know this is that we spend a crazy amount of time on stuff that can be automated. 6 years ago, I started using this app to do tasks in 1/10 the time, and I'll show you how you can do this too. It's not AI, it's not magic, but I promise that if you put in the effort to set it up correctly, you will save your business 1,000 hours a year. So here are the 3 steps I took to do this, starting by figuring out how much time you waste every day. Let's say there are 4 people in your business, yourself and 3 employees. Now, if each of you can save just 1 hour a day, that's 4 hours a day saved. So 4 hours a day. And assuming you all work the typical 5 days a week and 50 weeks a year, then that comes out to 1,000 hours a year. So when you do the math and add up the hours, it becomes very apparent how much just a single hour wasted per day will cost your business. 1,000 hours a year is 25 full work weeks a year, which is insane. So by not taking any steps to save this time, you're leaving tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table. Okay, but now that we know how much time we're wasting, that brings us to step 2, which is to learn how to stop wasting that time using Keyboard Maestro. So the simplest way I can describe Keyboard Maestro is that it can do pretty much anything you can do on a computer, except way faster. You just need to tell it what you want it to do, and the way you do that is by adding actions. So there are actions to open websites, to type on the keyboard, to send emails, to click on images, to read files. Really, the list goes on. There are hundreds of actions in Keyboard Maestro. But one of the easiest ways to add actions is with the record feature down here. So let me show you an example of this in practice. So I have this spreadsheet here with a bunch of company names and client IDs, as well as the client names. And I want to send each of those clients a message through this portal here. So basically I need to copy the company name and then come here, paste that in, and then copy the client ID and then paste that in here and then do next. And then I'll copy the first name and say something like hi, and then paste in that name and then say your order is shipped. And then I'll send that message and it takes us back to the original page. Now I have a huge list of clients here that I need to send that message to. So this is a great example of where Keyboard Maestro can help us out. So let's come back to Keyboard Maestro and I'll press this record button. And that starts a countdown timer from 5 seconds. And now it will record all of the actions I do on the keyboard. So I'm going to start by pressing Command C to copy this name here. Then I'll come to the client portal. I'll press Tab and then Command V to paste in that company name. Then I'll press Tab and let's go back and grab the client ID. So I'll copy that. Then I'll come back to the portal here. I'll paste it in and then I'll press Tab and return to go to the next screen. Okay, and now here we can copy the first name, come back to the client portal and say hi, and then Command V to paste in the name. Your order is shipped, and I'll press Tab and Enter to bring us back to the beginning. And then the very last thing we need to do is just move the cell to be on the next company name, since we'll want to run this macro over and over. But now let me pause the recording and let's come back to Keyboard Maestro to end it. And you can see here, it has all of the actions that we just did. So it types keystrokes of Command C or Command V or Tab. It clicks to move between the different tabs, and it inserts that text by typing that we typed in that message box. So you can see up here, I have a shortcut of Command Option Control S to run this macro. And there's a 0.5 second delay between each of the actions, just so we can see what it does, but we'll lower this in a second. Anyway, let's come back to the spreadsheet and I'm going to press that shortcut. So you can see it copies the company name It goes back to the spreadsheet, it copies the client ID, and now let's see what it does with the message. It pastes in the name and brings us back to the beginning. So that looked like it worked for a single round, but let's see what it would look like if we lower this delay a little bit to just 0.1 seconds instead of half a second. So now let's go back, I'll press the shortcut again, and you can see this time it runs way faster than before. Now all we need to do to get it to run for all of the items in the spreadsheet is come back to Keyboard Maestro, and I'll highlight all of them, and I'll right click and I'll press repeat on this menu item here. And let's say we want it to repeat 20 times for now. So let's try that out. Let's go back to the spreadsheet and I'll run the macro and let's see what it does. So it's doing each of the items really fast. You can see it's speeding through each of them, pasting in the company name, the client ID, the first name, and sending that message. So I'm going to cancel this macro now, but hopefully this gives you a sense of what is possible with Keyboard Maestro. And by the way, you can download this macro and the other ones I'll show in this video in the description if you want to play with them yourself. But anyway, at this stage, your biggest bottleneck is simply not knowing what Keyboard Maestro can do. So you just need to learn as much as possible. You need to take a look at the different actions and start to get an idea of all the possibilities for saving time with automation. Once you have a solid foundation with Keyboard Maestro, that takes us to step 3, which is to figure out which tasks in your workflow you should automate to save the most time. At this stage, you want to think, what are the most tedious or repetitive tasks you have to do every day or week? What is the work that you dread doing? If you could just press a magic button and have part of your job automated like this, what would that be? On the simpler end, it could be something like combining PDF files, which is exactly what one of my clients, Patrick, had to do. So he would spend multiple hours a week just merging several PDF files into these reports. So every day he'd be in a preview and he'd have to add these PDFs to the document one at a time, which was super tedious and time consuming and took away from the work that actually mattered to him. But then we worked together to create a macro to do this with literally just a single keystroke. So I'm going to run that now, and you can see it instantly pops out this PDF report, which is the combined result of all of these PDFs in the folder below. So what used to take Patrick hours before now only takes him seconds to complete. But why stop there? It turns out the PDFs he had to merge actually came first from docs files that he had to convert to PDFs. So why not just automate this whole process? Why not make a macro where as soon as you press a keyboard shortcut, it automatically converts those docs files into PDFs, then merges those PDFs into a master PDF file that's named with the current date, then automatically sends it in an email to the person it needs to go to. And all of that in just a single macro. I've created hundreds of macros for tasks like this, so hopefully you can start to see how powerful this is. If you want to learn how to do all of this yourself, I have tons of tutorials on my channel. They'll teach you all the techniques you need to make automations like the ones I've shown in this video. But if you want to just skip to the end and get the result, I created a program called the Automation Accelerator. In the program, I'll make you custom automations specific to your business to save you 1,000+ hours a year. This is the closest thing to pressing the magic button and having your job automated. In fact, I'm so confident with the results of this program that if I don't save you 1,000 hours a year, you pay nothing. If this is something you want to learn more about, you can book a free coaching call with me using the top link in the description of this video, and we can talk about whether you'd be a good fit for the program. Just let me know in your sign up that you're a business and not an individual, so I know that you want to save 1,000+ hours. I only work with a handful of people at a time, but if I'm at full capacity, you'll still be able to join a waitlist, and I'll let you know as soon as I have space. But now that you know about Keyboard Maestro, you might want to watch this video next to figure out what you should start automating first. Thanks for watching.